Good morning, everybody. I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Wendy Yee.
I'm Chris Yee. You're
Welcome.
a little sedate this morning. You're a little sedate this morning.
I'm tired. I moved all weekend, which was a fun thing to do. I should say I'm moving. Like, it's a never-ending process. It's just not
You got the
never-ending.
bulk of it. You got the bulk
I
of
did.
it done this
Dice Tower
weekend.
team helped me, and it got moved. So now we have to clean the old house still,
Oh, yeah.
which is not very satisfying. Like, it's very satisfying to clean a new house you're about to move into,
Right.
because you're like, look how nice it looks. Old house, you're like, is it good enough? Can we go?
I'm not getting my deposit back either way, you know.
That's what I feel like is going to
Yeah.
happen. And then we got to still sort things out at the new house and all that jazz, and also figure out how we're going from 5 bedrooms to 3. Well, 5 to 4 because I added an extra bedroom, but it still is a noticeable difference. The big noticeable difference is we went from 3 bathrooms to 2, and
Yeah, that's big.
the kids are like, wow. I was like,
Especially
there's a
with
parent
teenage
bathroom
girls.
and there's a kids bathroom.
Kids/guests.
You know what? I shared a bathroom with 6 daycare children and 3 other siblings when I was a kid, and I survived. So.
Well, yeah, that's what but those kind of stories never go over well. Back in my day.
So you're saying my story didn't go over well.
A couple things. We want to say thank you to some of our Kickstarters backers. So we want to say thank you to Ray Soutier. We want to say thank you to Lee and Sarah Birmingham, to Robbie Crane, to Peyton Bedlian, to Rafael Pino, to Thomas Hill, to Michelle and Michan the Cat. I'm more thankful to Michelle. Just want to be clear on that one. To Glenn Jingleman,
Same, yeah.
to Peter Brooks, and to Adam Woodford. Thank you guys for backing our Kickstarter. Don't forget about that word Kickstarter, because I'll come back to that. But before we jump into Kickstarter, we have a couple other things to talk about. First is a contest we have. This is sponsored by Pandasaurus Games, and it is, oh my word, it's for Orichalcum. What a good game. I still haven't played it.
No.
I'm going to try to play Orichalcum, I think, on our upcoming cruise if I can.
But a cruise?
Come on, one thing at a time.
Wait, spoilers. Isn't Orichalcum on the shelf that we're reviewing today?
It might be.
It is.
Yes, but also I didn't play it. So anyway, but I hear everyone here who has
on the
played it
shelf.
has said it's very good. Anyway, you can win a copy of Orichalcum by emailing us at contest@dicetower.com. In the subject line, put the word Atlantis, and in the body, you need to tell us how many Titan tiles are there. If I was picking a question, I'd been like, do you think Atlantis? Where do you think Atlantis is located? Is it in the Mediterranean? Is it in the Pacific? Is it in the anyway? How many tiles are there? Is the actual question. Also, give us your address so if you win, we know where to send it. And thanks to Pandasaurus for that. That's pretty cool.
Indeed. Atlantis hiding in the Pacific would be a great hiding spot.
We'd call it Pacific Rim.
It's in the Marianas Trench.
Yeah, there you go.
That's like the only part of the Pacific anyone ever talks about. That's where the sharks hide. The Meg is in there and that stuff. Anyway, this is a short 4X style game. The first person to get 5 victory points is the winner. So there's that. Also, check out Wolves. Did I say Wolves? Wolves. One of these days, I should put a sign up there that says, point the opposite direction, Tom.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's so... Did it.
In other news, Dice Tower East registration is still open, so you want to go to that. Dice Tower West is only a few months away, and I was just notified that the hotel for Dice Tower West, our hotel block, is almost sold out, and it's particularly almost sold out for like Friday night. So like if you don't get your tickets or your hotel room soon, you may end up paying convention rates for Wednesday, Thursday, then full rate for Friday, then convention rate for Saturday, Sunday, something like that.
Interesting.
Well, the good news about Vegas hotels is that Friday night rates are so
so affordable.
good.
Yeah, so don't delay if you're coming to Dice Tower West, and get those hotels. So that's Dice Tower East, Dice Tower West. But the thing we mostly want to talk about today is Kickstarter. The Dice Tower Kickstarter, I just read some backers, is launching today at noon. The Dice Tower is funded by you. We get funding from different publishers and things, but the vast majority of our funding still comes from you, the backers. And so we have a Kickstarter project that's launching today at noon. You can see it at dicetowerkickstarter.com. And if you like what we do, there's a couple ways that you can support us. One is by going there and backing us. We appreciate that. But I get that not everyone has the money to do that. Then tell other people who do have money about it. Tell people, spread the word, put it on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, be real, or whatever things you're using.
Or fake.
Is Be Real that thing where it's like, take a picture right now?
Yes.
Like out of nowhere.
Yes.
Okay, the quiche is burning, but take your photo.
I did not do it yesterday because I think I went to bed before it went off. I was like, well, whatever. My kids are like, why didn't you do it? I'm like, because I was in the middle of something. They seem astounded that I can't just stop and do it.
Do they respond to you, cap? Because I learned that you can actually just say the word cap. It doesn't have to be no cap. I learned this yesterday at church. I'm hip.
So is it the opposite of no cap, or is it the same as no cap?
So if you just say cap, that means you think someone's lying. Like, I was busy. Cap.
Man, I sure hope that doesn't take off. That's terrible. What is that? What's that short for?
It's probably already on the decline. It probably isn't short for anything.
A capital offense? I don't get it.
Yes, capital offense. Lying.
Well, it could be in some places if you lie to the military. Anyway, so our Kickstarter launching, we're gonna have all sorts of things. We got promos from lots of different companies. We have bags and play mats and puzzles. We have really cool theme this year: Dungeons and Dragons. Generic fantasy. All sorts of cool. Oh wait, we have the online. We can do the. Well, actually, they're about to change that. The license for D&D.
Oh, this is news I know so little about. I'm excited to learn more about it.
Yeah, we got. Oh man, we got a
Ooh, we
little
got
goblin plushie and all sorts of things. And we also have a way that if you don't want any of that stuff and you just want to back us, there's a way to do that. And so if you appreciate the Dice Tower, and we hope that you do, watching us is helpful because views always helps. Telling people about the Kickstarter and of course backing it. We only talk about this, which I try not to talk about money all year round. That's why we run a Kickstarter, so that I just talk about it now. But also you'll notice, unlike PBS, I'm not going to talk about it the entirety of this episode now. In fact, we're going to take
Should
a
I
look.
pretend to answer phones?
That
We received another
callers
plug.
are standing by, and you're now going to see Bob Schmob come out and play the piano with just one hand. Actually, that's
I
not
need
that
a bell
hard.
to ring. Do we have a cowbell?
Bob Schmob is going to play the piano with one hand and one forehead.
There
That's
you go.
the act I want
I've
to see.
seen that done.
impressive.
All right, let's move on.
Hi, it's Tarrant.
And Stella from Maple University. Today we have a game by the same designer that designed Magic Maze, Gardeners.
Yes, and it shows. It is a silent, real-time. In this case, it's a pattern building game rather than a essentially pick up and deliver. Plays in real time. So you're trying to assemble a garden out of tiles collectively, and different objectives, which one player will know, and all other players will know what type of objective it is,
But not what.
not exactly
happens.
what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Will come into play, and you've got to work together, deduce what people have in their hands in order to make a garden that meets all objectives.
It's fun, it's real time. It's probably not as chaotic as Magic Maze. Sorry, obviously we kind of like want to compare with Magic Maze, considering it's the same designer, feels kind of the same.
Yeah, it's kind of the thinking. Maybe it's the thinking person's Magic Maze.
Oh yeah, yeah. You
I have more fun with Magic Maze though.
Alright. So Magic Maze is more hilarious. Dwarf trying to steal things and then
Go
get
through a little door.
yeah, and then getting out of the shopping mall. And this one is kind of like a bit more calming. It is gardening themed though, so maybe that takes effect as well. Yeah. So that is Gardeners. Hopefully you enjoy that, and thanks for watching. Bye.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to my segment, A Board Game in 1,000 Pieces. So today I'm not going to talk about a specific board game. I just picked up this Play in the Park jigsaw from Disneyland in California. And since it's a board game on this thing, and Disneyland had this Play in the Park theme all over the year, I guess, and they rethemed a few S-market games like Monopoly and Clue and such games. Well, I do understand why they choose those games to change them and sell them, because it's just the average board game. I really wish for other games that they would have changed, like maybe something like Terraforming Earth with Wall-E, or Between Two Castles of Mad Walt Disney, or Villainous Guests, or maybe Sheriff of Nottingham, just with a Disney Robin Hood in there. But no, we had to stick with Monopoly. So, which games would you like to be Disney-mized? Please let us know in the comments below, and let's see how the jigsaw went. Okay, that's it from me today. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Todd, for the super chat. All right. Well, I was gonna lead up to today's 40 games ago, but it's already on the screen, Mike.
Well,
Jenga.
No surprise.
You may have heard of Jenga. Now, actually, I think some people will be surprised that Jenga's only 40 years old. Right. It feels like the kind of game that's been out forever and ever.
You know what? As I had assumed, actually, it came out in the 90s when I was a kid, because there was a point in my life where Jenga didn't exist, and then there was a point where I saw commercials for it.
Oh, really? No,
Yeah, I
had
assumed it came out
I had assumed
then.
it predated me by more than just a handful of years. Like, that's really... the idea is so simple. Don't knock thing over. Oh, I don't want to steal your thunder. Why don't you explain the game?
No, it's
To
fine.
us youngins here.
No, I mean, I don't remember a time without Jenga, and I was 6, I guess, when it came out. But it's one of the games that hits pop culture. People know about Jenga. In fact, people will, even in quote unquote our games, will say we'll use Jenga as a verb.
Yeah.
You know, your Jenga dad or whatever, and people talk about Jenga a lot. Jenga has had many, many, many spin-offs, from Uno to Giant Jenga, which we played at Dice Tower Con, one of the best moments ever at a Dice Tower convention.
Those are fun.
I've seen Flaming Jenga, which was pretty fun. Where
What?
guys were playing with it, the whole thing was on fire. They were showing off, it was basically an advertisement for these gloves that you could stick in fire.
And they lit Jenga on fire.
Oh
and
yeah,
they
the
played
blocks
it.
were all like burning as they were doing it. It was fantastic. Look it up it's on YouTube. It's
You did this at
fantastic.
Dice Tower East?
No.
That's impressive.
But I would.
Also,
I
don't try it
would.
at home, just to make sure.
I pulled out my phone to look up what the word Jenga means, because I wasn't sure.
All right.
Do you know what it means?
Well, I just saw it on your phone, so
To
yes.
stack blocks on top of each other.
It is a Swahili word meaning to build.
Oh.
I didn't know that.
Unfortunately for Jenga, it's also one of the most ripped off games in existence.
Yeah.
You can buy tons. The one I've seen the most of is always in a blue tin
Yeah.
that you then turn upside down to do it. There's also versions of Jenga. We played one time where you held the Jenga and you have to pass it to the next person and put the blocks on.
Oh my
So that
goodness.
lasts about 3 turns.
Yeah.
One of my favorite is Earthquake Jenga, where it will occasionally rumble on the bottom
rattle?
randomly. So you don't want to wait too long about pulling your block out.
Oh my goodness.
That's actually my favorite version.
Pop goes perfection Jenga.
I think my favorite version is there's a YouTube channel I watch, movie reviewers, where they have like old VHS tapes that they watch, and so they stack up a tower of them. They're black label tapes, like there's no information on them, so they're going to watch like 3 bad movies in a row and rate how bad they are. And so they call it Junka for legal reasons, where they just they stack up the VHS tapes and they take turns poking them out. Like, that's how part of the zeitgeist Jenga is.
It
Yeah,
really
sure.
is. There's an RPG-esque game. I think it's called
Fiasco.
Dread.
Or
And Fiasco. I think 2 different ones.
Oh, is it 2
Use
different ones? Okay.
I think so. That use Jenga blocks and pulling them as a thing. There's a game called Sarah's Vision, which I believe we
still have it in the library.
We do still have a library?
Oh.
Well, you can try that at the
I don't
next Dice
recognize
Tower
that
Con.
name,
It's not going to make it much longer if it is still in Dice. It's a fine game, but it basically uses the Jenga thing. I don't actually know what my current rating of Jenga is. I'm going to guess it's a 6 because I think it's fine. I also think it's kind of... It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, you pull out the bottom blocks, you pull out the middle if you can, or you do. But it's entertaining. If someone's like, "Let's play Jenga," my kids will often play it.
Sure.
Yeah, why not?
When you go to, there's a place back in Vegas, what was it, the Gold Spike? It was kind of a bar-ish thing, but it had a whole big back area where there was like...
Oversized fun games, like yard games.
Exactly, oversized silly games. So they would have, like, you could throw basketballs into a triangle of trash cans, right? Like bar pong, if you will. And they had giant Jengas, they had giant shuffleboards and stuff.
Giant cornhole, yeah.
It's just one of those things that's so ubiquitous that you don't have to have a rule book sitting around. You see a giant Jenga thing and people are like, let's poke sticks out of it.
I will say, I think Jenga is one of the few games that the bigger it is, the better it is. I really think the giant ones are really fun.
The harder it falls.
Right, yeah. The amount of panic you get from a normal Jenga tower falling over is just exacerbated when it's taller than you.
Can you imagine playing giant pickup sticks? Like, that didn't take off as well.
Also, it's like That one is not 40 years. That one's like 80 to 100 years old, I think. Pick up 6.
I wonder, yeah.
Yeah.
When are we doing our segment on games from 100 years ago, Tom?
1923?
Yeah. 23 skidoo.
We'll look it up during the break. Let's keep going.
Hey everybody, Ron here, back with another affordable board game. Today I'm going to talk about Marvel Remix. Marvel Remix is a game designed by Bruce Glasgow, the same guy that designed Fantasy Realms, published by WizKids, plays 2 to 6 players, ages 12 up, in 20 minutes and a $25 MSRP. Score the most points by building a combo of hero, location, ally, and other cards that's set against the villain. To play this game, you have to have a requirement. At the end of the game, you must have at least one villain in your hand or you automatically lose. Cards have a victory point value, symbols, and sometimes rules conditions. The villain cards mostly, but not always, start with negative points but have a bonus condition. Hero cards have a positive value and symbols. Other cards have combinations of victory points, symbols, and bonus points. Now, like Fantasy Realms, you'll have a row of cards on the table, and you will be picking up cards from the row in the center, replacing it, or picking a card from the top of the deck. The game will end when you have 7 cards in that row. And much like Fantasy Realms, you'll add up your victory points, you'll have your different combos and what have you, and the most points wins. Now, what I really like about this, above even Fantasy Realms, is with the different symbols, you don't have all that rules text on the cards like you do in Fantasy Realms, where you have, well, if this happens and this happens and all that kind of stuff. So it makes the game a little bit easier to understand. The symbols both have colors and patterns, so if you're visually impaired, that's not really a thing that's too much of a concern. And I really enjoyed this. I personally like the colorful Marvel theme, and I really feel like it fits. So I highly recommend this one. And that was Marvel Remix. I hope you folks enjoy, and until next time, see you later.
Hey, Board Game Breakfast, how's it going? This is Nick, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you about Nova Luna. This is a game for 1 to 4 players, takes about 20 to 30 minutes to play, and is for ages 8 and up. We're going to give you a quick overview, and by the way, this is a Grail game, so this will be a hard game to get into your collection. So let's go ahead and get into it. So this is a setup for 2 players. The goal of the game is to get rid of all of your player pieces, or if all the tiles are picked up and placed, whoever has the fewest player pieces will be the winner. And let's go ahead and tell you about a turn. A turn starts out, so this being the start of the game, the first player that will go is the one that's furthest back and on top of any other pieces. So in this case, it is blue. Blue will pick one of the 3 tiles in front of the moon token right here. So the blue player has these 3 options. Once the blue player decides on which one to take, they will go ahead and move the moon to that spot, take the tile, put in their personal supply of tiles, and then move forward that many spaces. So move 4 spaces, 1 space, 5 spaces, and then you see who is next in line by who is furthest back and on top of any other pieces. So when you take a tile, you'll start making your own little personal supply, and you'll be putting them in any kind of order orthogonally against other tiles. Once they're placed, and you cannot move them. The way you go ahead and get rid of your player pieces is once one condition is met on one of your tiles, you will take one of your pieces like so and place it over one of the requirements or objectives. So in this case, this 6 tile here needs to be touching 1 turquoise tile, and it is orthogonally touching one of these turquoise tiles. So you can go ahead and put that there, and then now you're 1 player piece closer to your goal, and you'll go ahead and keep picking up tiles between upcoming turns to go ahead and get rid of more of your player pieces. And you want to make sure you're whatever your personal supply is, you're making it work and making your strategy as smooth as possible. So that is a quick overview of Luna Nova. I hope you enjoyed this overview of this game, and I hope I piqued your interest. Well, enjoy your breakfast.
All right, so Z is not doing what's happening today. That's going to be tomorrow. So just because we're prepping for the Dice Tower Kickstarter, and I'll be doing my Q&A at 11:30 rather than noon, so I can launch the Kickstarter in the middle of it.
Ooh, or you can have a big red button set up, so you
I
could be
am
like,
not.
launched.
I am not.
That was easy.
I wish the very first time we did a live launch, I pressed the button, and then they're like, you need to go through these steps first. And I was like, what? Thanks for telling me. So, anyway, at the table with Kirk Hamilton is today at 3. And then, like I said, Z's doing his thing tomorrow.
He's playing Root, folks. It's happening.
Oh, wow.
It's happening or it's happening?
Bring your friends. Wednesday is crowd surfing and the Delicio Factor. Mike, you're playing
Core Quest with the new Dice Tower Kickstarter promo.
Oh, that's right. Core Quest with the
That's
promo
exciting.
that Jimmy drew, sort of.
Jimmy inspired, we'll say.
Yeah,
There you go.
It's a really fun thing to see how that works out. And then there's Thursday we're doing our top 10 anticipated games. Me, Mike, and Z are doing ours. In fact, I saw Roy's list and I haven't looked at y'all's because I didn't want it to affect my picks.
Your thoughts?
Yeah, sure. My list is going to affect you.
No. I didn't. Here's the thing. It could be because I could see one go, ooh, I should put that on my list.
Yeah,
But I would rather than just say, well, that would have made my list or whatever. We'll see.
All right.
Anyway, and then, so there's just stuff going on all week long. And then, of course, I shouldn't say of course, next week, the Dice Tower Cruise is happening. Now, there's not going to be any live content next week because, A, internet in a ship is very expensive, and B, it's also terrible. So that combination, I don't know if anyone's ever streamed live from a ship. It probably has happened.
I'm sure download is fun, but upload is a very different beast.
Yeah.
So we're going, though, to have content going up next week. Between all of us, over this week and next week, we're talking about our top experiences of 2022. We're also going to be taking a look at our anticipated games from 2022 and seeing where they are now. And, of course, many of the different playthroughs and top 10 lists from our Winter Spectacular are still going up if you missed them. So there's a lot of different content going up this week and next week. So we hope you enjoy it. Let's keep going.
Hello, Proti here, your Romanian content creator, and today I will continue my series where I will talk about a specific part of a game, and today we will talk about Mind MGMT. Mind MGMT is a hidden movement, one versus many game where one player is the recruiter. He's running hiddenly, let's say, or secretly through the city and is recruiting people. And he has some immortals, some character of his own that he is controlling, and these immortals are in the way of the agents and helping him recruit people. And the other players are agents which are trying with different actions to gather information about where the recruiter was and where the recruiter is, and find the ultimate location where the recruiter is and then capture him. And it's an interesting game. It has even some, let's say, campaign elements where you can, the part that loses a game can open a package and get some extra stuff, but we are talking here strictly about the base game. And one interesting thing is the agent have special abilities, and this is what I wanted to discuss. One of the agents is Henry Lime, which has interesting ability, which is actually blocking the immortals to recruit if the immortals are adjacent or in the same space with this agent. And I really like this agent because you can position him strategically to put pressure on the recruiter and in the same time hinder the immortals to be efficient and to recruit for the recruiter, which is quite interesting. And if you are able to position this agent really well, you can benefit with the actions and in the same time benefit of his ongoing ability to block to the immortals from recruiting. So this is what I wanted to discuss about this interesting character in Mind MGMT. Have a nice breakfast.
Hey there, it's Board Game Dave. I am so excited to be on Board Game Breakfast for the first time ever today. Just as a quick introduction, I'm an elementary music teacher from Pennsylvania who became obsessed with board games back in 2019, and I started a YouTube channel specifically to share my love of board gaming just over a year ago. Today we're doing a little Board Games 101 where we'll be diving into one specific mechanism in board games, and today we're talking about probably my favorite mechanism, worker placement. So, what is worker placement? Worker placement is a type of action drafting mechanism in which players select actions in turn order by placing a worker or workers from their supply on a building associated with a specific action and then execute that action immediately. The round ends when all workers have been placed, at which point they return to their owners' pools and a new round begins. Perhaps the OG worker placement game, or at least the most cited, is Caelus, designed by William Attia in 2005, which was recently reimagined as Caelus 1303. But I think that the game that really took worker placement into the spotlight, into the mainstream, and changed the course of modern board gaming was Stone Age by Bernd Brunhofer in 2008. This was absolutely my gateway into the world of modern board games, and I still love playing Stone Age to this day. It's an incredible classic worker placement game. Other notable worker placement games include A Feast for Odin, Raiders of the North Sea, Viticulture, Everdell, Agricola, Underwater Cities, and Anachrony. Worker placement games are a ton of fun because they're often inherently thematic as you send workers to various spaces to take specific actions, and they provide a healthy dose of not too confrontational player interaction as you take the spot another player really wanted to go to. If you liked this little segment, please let me know in the comments what mechanism you'd like me to cover for the next Board Games 101. In the meantime, if you're looking for more board game content, reviews, playthroughs, and more, you can check out my channel Board Game Dave here on YouTube or follow me on Instagram. I hope you have a wonderful day, take care, and happy gaming. Bye!
All right, we'll take a look at another shelf in the Dice Tower library, which fortunately Chris reminded me to record before we packed up the library last week.
The library's out of the studio.
I reminded you. Just saying.
That it came up from Wendy
I'm
first.
so offended.
I'm sorry, Wendy was
so
the annoying
offended,
one
Tom.
who reminded me.
Nag.
Yeah, our studio now is like echoey because the
It
library
was so weird walking in, and the entire everything is gone. It's just
You
a
would think
giant
we'd
open
get
room.
better at packing this library. It's still, I don't think you folks understand how much work packing and shipping our library is. But anyway, it's not here. But fortunately, we recorded this video before we left. All right, let's take a gander here at shelf 3A. We have Witchstone, which is not designed by Stefan Feld, but Reiner Knizia. But if you played it, you wouldn't know. Elysium. This is a game that did not get a lot of love, but about using cards until they're, but then sending them to Elysium so you can get points from them. A nice mix. Victorian Masterminds. A lot of plastic in there, but it's definitely a lightish type Euro game, kind of area control. Madeira. Madeira is, it's a what's your game, and if you've played one of their games, then you've played Madeira. Airlines Europe, this is a classic. It used to be called Union Pacific from Alan Moon, but it's a nice, lightish stock market game that's considered to be a classic. We got this series of games here, of which there's only two. Probably only ever will be two. Coimbra, a dice drafting game. Shut Up Siri. I'm trying to do this. Series choice is obviously Coimbra. But anyway, Coimbra, a dice drafting game, an alma mater, a real tight game about knowledge and running a library. Pipeline, a mix of economics and, well, pipes. Very heavy economic type game. It's a Wonderful World. Probably most closely associated with Race for the Galaxy, but a little bit different in that. A lot of fun collecting cards and building an engine. Reichholt, this was a big anticipated game from Uwe Rosenberg, but it's pretty light compared to most of the other games as you collect different vegetables and carrots and lettuce and things like that. Gugong, a game about exchanging gifts with other people, trying to get the better deal, and a nice chunky Euro game. And then my Paris collection, Colors of Paris, which is about painting, Dinner in Paris, about opening a cafe, and Paris, well, that's a Wolfgang Kramer and Kiesling game, so excellent. Orichalcum is, I think, the only game on this shelf that I have not played, and so I need to get around to trying that one out, and that's what's on shelf 3A. This one's a tough one for me. Well, not that tough, I suppose, because I like Paris and It's a Wonderful World, but it is Airlines Europe. Airlines Europe is just an amazing, amazing stock market, but in a palatable way.
Airlines Europe is one that's very near and dear to our hearts. We played a lot with family.
I wish this was a harder shelf for me, but no, it's Airlines Europe by a mile.
Hands down.
Actually.
I really like Pipeline, though. I do really enjoy Pipeline.
Oh, that's true. Pipeline's good.
Yeah.
Pipeline's great. It's that weird mix. You say this a lot, Tom, where it's like, it's two disparate parts of games that you have to really be part of that Venn diagram to like. Because if you don't like the tile-laying puzzle thing, but you like heavy economic games, you're not necessarily going to like both parts.
See, that's exactly the two parts of gaming I like the most. And so it's a very good game to me.
Did we play Airlines Europe together?
I don't think we have.
No, I don't think so.
No.
Okay.
No, it's one of my favorites, though.
Yeah.
I tried It's a Wonderful World on Board Game Arena online, but I didn't know any of the rules. And so, because...
That was a shtick Chris used to have, is he used to record stuff not knowing rules, him and a buddy.
Yeah, we would just like click through things and we'd like, oh, I think I figured something out about the game, and we'd teach each other as we were playing it. That was a fun, dumb little live stream series we used to do. But
I do that with real games in real life.
But no, I like what was happening in It's a Wonderful World. I'd like to play it for reals though sometime, because I think it's pretty good.
It's kind of like Race for the Galaxy Light. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Sort of.
As you mentioned, Orichalcum at the beginning of the episode, I do really like that one. I think that's neat, and I'm looking forward to playing it some more. Maybe I'll pull it out on the cruise or something.
I have not played that one that I can remember. Maybe Chris will remember for me.
No, you haven't played it
Okay,
yet.
good.
I've kept it away from you. You're not allowed.
That's what's on that shelf.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Today we are looking at Survive, Escape from Atlantis. It's a 2 to 4 player game by Stronghold Games. What are you laughing at? This is a grid movement, dice rolling, and take that game.
Very take that. So this game, very simple to explain because it's a very easy game. You basically have an island of hexes in the middle of the board, and then there's some little sort of islands on each corner. You have all your explorers on the island of Atlantis, and you're trying to get them to the edge of the board before the other player, and in more quantity than the other player, before the island sinks. And you have 3 actions each turn. Basically, as you move your explorers towards the edge of the board in some way, or so onto a boat or swimming towards the edge of dry land, and then you sink part of the island. So basically, you take one of the tiles and drop whoever's on it into the ocean. So hopefully you're trying to do it to the other players. And then you roll a dice, which moves some of 3 monsters around the board trying to eat and or capsize the boats.
Sea monster, sharks, and whales.
Yes, hilarious fun. You basically destroy the island in various sections. So there are 3 different terrain types. There's sand and forest and mountains. And it kind of works its way up. And these little tiles are very sort of varied thickness, and it makes kind of 3D-ish thing. So you sink the sand first, then the forest, then the mountains. And as all these explorers drop into the sea, they're either trying to get into you're either trying to get into a boat and get the boat to the island safety, or you're swimming and whales come and capsize the boats, and sharks eat the swimmers, and sea monsters come and do all of that. It's just crazy good fun. I mean, we loved it as a 2-player game.
And a 2-player. It really fits us really well, because being a gamer and a not so much gamer, it suits us both.
Yeah.
It's a good mixture.
Definitely. Highly recommend this game. Really good fun. Very simple. And lots going on, and you don't know the score until the end, because you only score the numbers on the bottom of each explorer, and who knows where they are, and you can't keep track. You like that, don't you, where you don't score until the end?
That's one of my favourite scores.
Yeah.
Scorings, yeah.
So there we go. Survive, Escape from Atlantis. Can you? See you on the next one. Full review on our channel if you want to check it out. Bye, everybody.
This is a segment where we take a look at a board game based on an IP, and I tell you if the IP and the mechanisms match. Today we're going to stretch this out a little bit. We're going to talk about campy creatures. So the game's going to be very easy to play. Each round you're going to bring out a number of mortals equal to number of players. Each player is then going to play a card face down on the board, and you will reveal them at the same time. If you have a 1 at the bottom, you will activate the power. If not, whoever has the highest number, in this case the Kaju is 8, they can pick out any one card they want. Let's say they want to grab this 2 teenager card. Then the player who played the 5, which would be the next number, would get to pick. Maybe they'll pick the archaeologist. Then they would activate their power, force the player to your right to discard. So whoever's sitting over here has to discard a creature from their hand. And then this person with the next number, they would get their card and go over here, give their mortal, you just capture it to another player. So you're trying to get a bad card with that, and then you would give it to somebody else to put it into their scoring pile. Once you go through all the 3 locations, then you just add up who has the most points, and that's the winner of the game. Campy Creatures is a game I just fell in love with so much. And normally I have a hard rule in this segment that if it's not an actual IP, I'm not using it. It's got to be something, and this is a little stretch for me. These little off-brand ones I don't normally count, but I love this game so much I wanted to talk about. I love playing this game and drafting the cards and having the little powers that come out. Do I want to play this card? He's already played that one, so I know he can't beat me here. And how am I going to have all these monsters kind of move together in order to collect these humans? I really like how the theme comes through in this in a very simple mechanism. And this is a game I would tell nearly anybody to get. If you like the theme, and man, this game looks incredible. Love it. I would say this is one you need to jump on and take a look at because it's all of the Universal monsters. It has all of like Godzilla, King Kong, and there's an expansion that adds Frankenstein, a whole bunch of other things into this. This one is one I think you're sleeping on. The IP and the mechanisms fit great, and it's a good game. It's a trifecta victory for us. I choose this one.
All right, today we're talking about the Netflix show called Wednesday, which 2 of the 3 of us have watched.
So I can do the dance. That's what you're supposed to do.
Oh, not me. That's right.
Online.
You know, as a side note, that dance was fine. That sequence was fine.
I liked the dance.
But unfortunately, I and all my kids and everyone in my family somehow saw that before we saw the show because it was that popular. And it's popped up so many places. Like on the news today, I saw an ice skater just did it. Everyone on TikTok and stuff is copying it. And I'm like, that's cool and all, but you know.
Did you know she choreographed that dance?
She did.
She's not a dancer, and she just made that up on her own.
I know that having not watched the show because of what Tom just said. Like, there's articles about it everywhere.
That's actually what got me to watch it, is I kept seeing those kind of articles pop up, and I was like, fine, Chris is out of town, at a convention, I have nothing to do. I'll watch this show that I might be interested in.
The dance is in episode 4, so you have to go to episode 4. Or is it 3? It might be 3. I don't know. Anyhow, no, it's 4. Here's the thing. Wednesday, if you don't know what we're talking about, Wednesday is a show about the Addams Family daughter Wednesday. The rest of the Addams Family is in the show to a smaller degree. They're briefly in episode 1, and then they're the main focus of episode 5. And Lurch is in it, like, I don't know if he ever says anything in the whole show. He's barely there. It's Wednesday and Thing, because Thing is a very big part of the show. In fact, Wednesday would have died 800,000 times in this show, or the show would have been a lot more boring without Thing. Thing is definitely the crutch. The writers are like, how do we do this? They use Thing for everything.
He's the R2-D2 of the series.
Yeah, very much so. It's a show where Wednesday is sent to a boarding school for superpowered beings, and in this world, like supernatural beings, in this world, the general world at large seems to know that supernatural beings exist and don't seem to be particularly surprised by it.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem like they're a part of normal society either.
Yeah, well, when I say the world, it's just this town. They don't actually go outside the town, so I don't know. But what I'm saying is all the people in town are like, oh yeah, there's a vampire. I'm like, oh, okay, I would be like, oh, vamp! But it's not the case. So that's a little odd. And it is definitely a high school where everyone in it has graduated college. I've just come to grips with that's how these high schools are going to be.
That's how that stuff works, yeah. It's always been like that.
Also, the room that she stays in is nicer than the house it is bought, basically, for this boarding school.
It's huge. It is a beautiful window.
It's really nice. But I almost didn't watch it because it looked very teeny boppy to me.
I almost didn't watch it because I watched the trailer, which is just the intro scene with the whole piranha thing. It had really bad CG, and I was like, oh, this girl is like murdering kids with piranhas, is what it looked like.
Right. From visionary director Tim Burton. I was like, I'm out. You know, I was not interested at all from that trailer, and the more that I hear people talk about it, I realize, oh, that seems to have been a very poor representation of the show, actually.
It does. It's a little weird because throughout the entire show, she'll say something like, I love to be electrocuted. Oh, peeling skin is fun. And I'm like, well, does she really think that or not? The show doesn't ever really...
That's one of the things I was thinking of. So in Big Bang Theory, you have these nerds that are so stereotypically nerds that they're into everything, that it's impossible for them to be into as much of the nerdy stuff as they are. I feel like Wednesday Addams is that as well when it comes to macabre things. She's like, oh yeah, I did grave digging as a kid, and I've been electrocuted, and I've, murdered people, but I haven't murdered people. And so she's this weird, like, hero, but also this strange, like, macabre person that has no morality. And there's kind of a weird contrast that It bothers me, but not enough that I don't enjoy the show, because I did enjoy the show.
Yeah, I agree. It's a little weird sometimes they do that. They found, though, one of the best characters I've ever seen in her roommate, who is a Ray of Sunshine werewolf, which is a character I've not seen before. And they're back and forth. And in fact, I was a little worried this would be romantic to, the quadruple thing. And they do have a quad thing going on, of course, because they cannot not do this in shows. But it's
you mean
not,
like a love triangle kind of
it's
thing?
a love quad thing.
Yeah.
But it's not too overly impressive. And the show is basically about this girl who is a loner being forced to make friends.
Mm-hmm.
And that part I liked a lot. That part worked well. There's a lot of good sequences in. There's a particular sequence halfway through the series where she realizes that she doesn't necessarily want to be alone. I like that. Now, I worry that season 2, they're just going to be like, and throw all that out the window and start over again, because that happens a lot.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. I will say, for her being a detective, I mean, this is very Veronica Mars in many ways. She's the world's worst detective. Basically, I don't know how many times she's like, it was you! I'm like, no. And finally at the end, when she does pick the person who it was, I was like, well, you kind of eliminated everyone else by accusing them. I guess that's a spoiler. I'm sorry. I don't mean to spoil it, but you already watched it if you want. Anyway, I liked it. My kids enjoyed it. My teenagers liked watching it a lot overall. I'd give it an 7.5. I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was amazing. I thought there was cool things, but that's not how school works.
That's not how school works. It's a magical world, okay?
Actually, did they even show them in classes ever?
I don't...
Fencing,
maybe.
that was it.
Fencing, yeah. Yeah, maybe. That's it.
Yeah, that sounds like my high school experience, too.
Yeah, I'd probably give this a 7 or a 7.5. Like, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I don't know where they'd go with in the future with her development and the school's development. So, I mean, that's a curious thing to see if they do a good job with it or if they just kind of tank it. But I overall enjoyed it. I think the visuals were very cool. There were a lot of awesome, like the contrasting between her and her roommate, who's this like bright, colorful person, and then her very black and dark. Like, I loved that kind of stuff with the window. There were some cool scenes where she was playing the cello, and they had some very awesome visuals mixed with that music. Like, I liked a lot of the stuff artistically that was going on with it. So it was very pretty to me in that regard. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it overall.
I could be convinced to try it sooner than I'd watch Big Bang Theory again.
I'd watch it 10 times over Big Bang Theory, but yeah, so it's good. I'll watch season 2. I enjoyed it. I would like to see I'd like to see them kind of deviate on this and at least keep some of the same characters so we can see that stuff happen. But
yeah.
All right.
Happy breakfast, everyone. Today I'm here to talk to you about wormholes from AEG. Now, this is a pick up and deliver game where you are crafting networks of wormholes across the board. And you are just plopping down wormholes, one, then the other end of one, they activate, and then that is a permanently linked wormhole that you can jump about. Now, imagine a pick up and deliver game where all of a sudden you're only really trying to go in one direction because your route back is exceedingly quick because you drop a wormhole, you use your energy for your turn to move out, and you drop another wormhole, and then you can zip back for free. And then you're then jumping around using other people's wormholes, even though it sort of gives them some points. And that links over here, and you're bouncing around the board and doing crazy number of deliveries, and it's a really sort of well-timed game because it ends when all of the planets are linked up, and then there's like 3 more rounds. That's like the end game trigger, and those final rounds everywhere is linked in some way, but it's just everyone's bouncing all over the shop. And I've not really come across a pick up and deliver game which is so much about just zipping about the board. Normally you get sort of very slow movement, you've got to avoid obstacles, and there is that in the early game, but as you go throughout the game, more and more of these wormholes are dropped, and it's just bouncing around, dropping as many people off at as many different planets as possible. It's a lot of fun. I really, really have enjoyed wormholes. Let me know in the comments section below if you've given this game a go yet. Let us know either way, and enjoy the rest of your breakfast.
Hi, I'm Jordan. This is my little Everdell. Recently, this one came out and it's being marketed as a kid's version of Everdell. It is a stripped down version of that, focusing on the worker placement and the resource collection and buying cards. This is a good game. I'm not going to say that this is not a good game, but this is being marketed as a kid's game for ages 6+. And I just keep thinking about, what is a kid's game? Is a kid's game a game that kids can just be at the table while it's being played, or is a kid's game a game that kids can play independently of their parents and the adults at the table and be successful at? I've seen people online say like, yeah, my kids were able to play this. I helped them read the cards. I helped them kind of synergize their cards and pick the right resources and things like that. I don't know if realistically this is a game for young kids, ages 6+. A couple games that I've really enjoyed for kids at my house that are 6+, Yummy Yummy Monster Tummy, which is a really cool color matching, color combination game. Unlock Kids, which has to do with, unlock escape room games only for kids, which is really fun. And Island Hoppers, which is kind of a tile sliding game where you're trying to get these penguins across the board. Those feel like games that were designed with young children in mind. This one feels like they were trying to make a stripped down version and then figured, how young could we make this to sell it to more people? And I think they really missed the mark here. I have kids that are ages 6, 8, and 10 at my house, and I've only successfully played this with my 10-year-old. Yes, I'm sure many of you have really wonderfully exceptional kids at your house, and I think my kids are exceptional in their own ways, but honestly, they're just really probably average kids. I don't think any of them are I think they're gamer kids. They play a lot of games, but they're pretty average when it comes to a lot of things. And I think your kids probably are too, regardless of your best intentions. And I think this one is probably going to be a bit too much for them. So if you buy this for people with young kids, I think they're probably better off buying some of these other games and save this one when they're a little older. Great game for that, but it's not for a 6-year-old. That's tough for me. That's tough for me. All right, that's what I got.
It's okay, Jordan. My kids are also average, so
it's tough for me too.
Someone's kids have to be average.
Hey, yes.
Most people's, actually.
Although there is psychological, they've done surveys and 80% of Americans think their kids are above average. 80% of Americans also think they're above average driver. Anyhow, someone asked a question in chat, and it's driving me nuts, where someone says, "What's a good movie that shows actual, real American high school?" And we can't think of one currently.
I know. I want to come back to that. That's a great topic.
It really is. I'm trying to think.
Find a documentary
what's something
somewhere
that shows realistic high school? They would all have to be de-aged a lot, first of all, because in high school there's a lot of really young kids because they're young.
Right.
Yeah.
How about Stranger Things, where the local middle school science teacher knows how to make sensory deprivation tanks and and it wants to explain quantum theory to these middle schoolers.
That one's not, but the actual showing the kids in the classrooms isn't too bad. I don't know.
Yeah, that stuff is closer. That's the best one I can think of, except for the science teacher, who's awesome, but...
Yeah, I'm just convinced no one in Hollywood has ever taught. I've just come to that conclusion.
They probably didn't go to school themselves. They're probably all homeschooled.
All right, folks, I'll see you in an hour and a half for Q&A. And our Kickstarter starts at noon. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Wendy Yee.
I'm Chris Yee.
Have fun coming back and backing our Kickstarter.
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vasel and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production.